Hey there, welcome to Black Gumbo Southern Gardening. Today I'm going to pot some tomatoes up. These are looking a little worse for wear, but I got to get them into a little pot. And I thought I'd take the time to talk about potting soil, what you need to know about potting soil. So come on. So when you're using potting soil, it's because you're either up potting your starts into small containers like these, and that's the next step before you put them out in the garden, or you're growing in actual pots, like, you know, growing fruit trees in pots, growing tomato plants in pots. You need a different soil than what's in the garden. You need a specific potting mix, and a potting soil like this has some essential elements, and we're going to go through those today. You want good nutrition in there, you want water retention, but you also don't want dense media that holds too much water. And you want aeration. Roots have to breathe. And that's the main ingredients. Basically, a potting soil begins with a base. And the base is going to be something like cocoa coir or peat moss. Peat moss is the one I've almost always used in the past, but cocoa coir is more sustainable, and yeah, once you get peat moss dry, it's kind of hydrophobic. It doesn't absorb water easily. You got to get that water worked into there. Cocoa coir works a lot better. That's the first thing you need. I'm going to get started up potting my tomato plants here and just chat about all the ingredients of good potting soil. When I'm using these styrofoam cups, I always take my Homemaker 5000 and punch some holes in the bottom and in the sides, and that's just good practice. I'm using a new potting soil that I found. It seems to be decent quality. I usually used Kellogg's in the past, but I think their quality has kind of fallen off a bit. This is based on forestry products. That's what they say is the main ingredient. Ground up pine bark fines. That's usually what they mean by that. Now I'll just make a hole the size of the plug in there, and I'll grab one of these San Marzanos here and pop it out of its cell. In you go. These have needed to be potted up for a long time. And I always like to mark the cup with the variety San Marzano so I don't forget what it is. Now the second ingredient that you want to have in a good potting mix is perlite or vermiculite, or both. Perlite, it's an expanded volcanic glass. It's the white specks that you've seen in your potting mixes. Now I don't see very much of it in here in this potting soil that I have. There's some, and that's usually the case. There's not enough perlite to keep your soil from being compacted. Perlite also helps to maintain a little moisture in the mix. Vermiculite is more about aeration, but it does maintain a little bit of moisture retaining ability as well. So it doesn't hurt to grab a bag of perlite and mix some in with your potting soil, especially if it's going to be a permanent potting soil for an outdoor plant or a fruit tree. And I'm pointing at them now, you can't see them, but there they are. I mix my own potting soils for those applications. So that's the second thing you want to be mindful of when you are dealing with potting soil, is make sure that that soil doesn't get compacted, that it has aeration. The next thing you want to have in a decent potting soil is aged organic material or compost. And this is the kind of stuff you want to have in there for nutrition. In the potting soil that I'm using now, there's a lot of organic material in here, and I don't know if it's aged. It looks like ground up wood, and that's not perfectly ideal, but it'll work for a temporary solution, it'll work for now. But these are going into the garden and into better potting soil. And I don't have many of these plants that look healthy. I sort of neglected these plants a little bit, not on purpose, but they need to be in good soil with nutrition. There we go. Now, if you're eagle-eyed, you might see that on top of some of these cells is a fungus or a mold. I think it's a mold. Don't worry about it. It's organic material in your soil, and it doesn't harm it. It's so easy to deal with tomatoes. You stuff them in there. You can plant them deep if they're tall and leggy like these are. Potting soils, in general, if there's too much wood chip in them, they won't grow food very well. They won't grow plants very well. I want to show you something. Look at this soil. This is not potting soil. It's garden soil, garden mix. But take a look at this. This stuff is a gardening mix that has too much wood in it. Now it didn't, but what has grown in here has eaten up all the organic good stuff in here and left behind a bunch of wood chips. And this garden has been sitting here for over a year and a half since I pulled all my carrots out of this. And look at all the wood chips left behind. And they're not just on top, they're down mixed in. All that wood chip and not one single weed here. If you leave good soil bare, in my area, it's got weeds in it almost immediately, but this has too much wood chip. There's not any weeds in it, and I haven't done anything to keep weed seeds out. There's a reason for that. The reason is wood breaks down slowly, and when you get that wood in the soil, all those microbes in the soil that typically break down organic material go to work on that wood, and they need nitrogen to work. And they take up a lot of the nitrogen that your plant would otherwise need. All right, that's a little bit few plants to, I probably need one more San Marzano. The rest of these, they're not healthy enough to really keep. They've dried out a few times under the lights in the house, and well, they'll go to the compost bin. And people say, well, wait a minute, that's wasteful. No, if I put something in the compost bin, seedlings that I don't use, guess what? That just means I'll eat them later. I'll eat them in some other food because they'll break down, they'll contribute to my compost, and by contributing to my compost, they contribute to my garden. So none of it's a waste. Now, some potting mixes come inoculated with mycorrhizal fungi, and that's good because those are the organisms that your plants need. It's it's so interesting to study. There's a network of mycorrhizal fungi that develops in your soil over time, and it's that fungal life that helps your roots take up the necessary nutrients and minerals they need. It's a symbiotic relationship with your plant and the fungus in the ground, and that's why some gardeners say you shouldn't till your soil because you're destroying that fungal network. You might knock it back for a while, but if it's there, it will repair itself. But some potting soils come mixed with mycorrhizal fungal spores that develop, and that's really important if you're using the potting soil in a permanent or semi-permanent way. If you're putting a tree in a pot, or if you're going to have that pot grow annuals all year long and it's going to live in that pot, if you're a raised bed gardener, that's important too. But you want it there for long term. Doesn't necessarily need to be in here where these will only be in this pot for another 3-4 weeks, but it does need to be in a pot if you're growing in it permanently. Mycorrhizal. And if you look on the bag of potting soil, it should tell you if it has that inoculant. And I remember the Kellogg's variety does have mycorrhizal fungi in it, or at least it used to. I haven't looked at a bag this year. Some people say if you've got a potting soil that has a base of peat moss, that you should also add a bit of lime, garden lime, to that soil to help neutralize it, because peat moss is highly acidic, and some plants don't like that acidity. So keep that in mind. If you have a plant that's sensitive to the pH of the soil, you might want to add some garden lime if you've got a base of peat moss. This would be a more permanent kind of potting soil application where you've got a big pot and you're growing trees in it. And you can see here I've got one ready. I'm going to put some fruit trees in here, or a fruit tree. But you can see it's got a little bit of everything in it. It's got some, it probably needs some more of the perlite. There's not much in there. And I want to avoid getting all these wood chips mixed in. This is the stuff I recommend. This is Ivy Organics All-Purpose. It's a 3-3-3, but it's more than that. It has the major macronutrients, the nitrogen, phosphate, and the potassium. But it also has calcium, magnesium, and sulfur, and those are the other major macronutrients that plants need. It's all in here along with all kinds of wonderful stuff. It's good organic stuff. I love this company. If you want 10% off, go to ivyorganics.com. Use my code GUMBO10 and you'll get 10% off of everything in your cart. They got some great stuff. I'll be featuring their 3-in-1 plant guard tree. It's a tree, like almost like a tree paint. It's a tree protector. And I'll be putting that on my fruit trees this year. I do that once a year. Great stuff. I love it. So Ivy Organics, good products. Go over and check them out. If you like our channel and you want to learn about gardening in a small backyard context or growing fruit trees like this apricot tree right here that's sitting behind me loaded with apricots. If you want to learn about backyard orchard culture and growing fruit trees in your backyard, then I'm your channel. I invite you to watch some of our content. We've been doing this for more than 10 years and there's a lot of videos that you can watch and I hope you'll learn from them. Hey, thanks for joining me today. I'll talk to you next time. Take care. What you doing? Huh? What you doing down there? Trying to hide from the rain? Say hello. People haven't seen you in a while. Say hello.